How would you survive in the Stone Age if you couldn't bring anything from your current life? No phone, no food, no shelter to keep you safe. Imagine this. You open your eyes and find yourself lying alone in the middle of a vast, untamed landscape. Predators lurk in the shadows. Hunger claws at your stomach. The cold cuts straight into your bones. Our ancestors survived here for generations. But how long would you last? 1 hour? 1 day? 1 week? Take a guess. Because by the end of this video, you'll know if you were right. You might not expect it, but by looking closely at how our ancestors lived in the Stone Age, you'll find lessons worth applying in your own modern life. More on that later. Let's start the survival. Hour 1. You've just traveled 20,000 years back in time. You look around. Endless trees. No signs, no GPS. Every direction looks the same. Could you walk 20 miles, find water, and then make it back to the same spot without leaving markers? Stone Age people could. They carried maps in their heads. Rivers, ridges, crooked trees, animal trails. For you, every tree looks the same. For them, each one was a road sign. And then thirst kicks in. Today, we complain about walking downstairs to grab a drink. Back then, a sip of water could mean hours of walking, through forests, over hills, with predators watching. And even if you found it, drinking wasn't safe. Streams carried parasites your body has never met. One mouthful, and diarrhea, fever, dehydration could hit faster than hunger. In prehistory, almost everyone carried parasites constantly. Survival wasn't about avoiding them. It was about enduring them. The land itself was unstable. A storm could wash away a trail. A flood could erase a riverbank. A wildfire could burn the markers from memory. At night, there were no flashlights, only stars, the moon, and your memory. Navigation wasn't just remembering paths. It was adapting to a world that kept shifting under your feet. Today, some of us can't even find our car in a supermarket parking lot. Our ancestors trained their brains every day to store massive maps of the world. We've let that skill rot. Because we trust signs, roads, and apps, we stopped paying attention to our surroundings. Hour 3. Hunger hits. Your stomach growls. Every bush, every root, every berry starts to look edible. But here's the problem. That shiny red berry could be lunch or your last meal. Stone Age diets were wide. Roots, nuts, seeds, fish, insects. But the trick wasn't just finding food. It was knowing which ones kept you alive and which ones shut your body down. Take water hemlock. It looks almost identical to wild carrot. Eat the wrong one, and within hours your muscles lock, your body convulses, and everything shuts down. And mushrooms? Half of them are safe. The other half is either a quick ticket to the afterlife or a long, terrifying trip trapped in your own brain. Hunger wasn't just uncomfortable, it was lethal. A hunter burned 3,000 to 4,000 calories a day just to keep going. The cold, the walking, the stress. It was a furnace. Skip food for a few days, and your odds of surviving the next predator encounter dropped close to 0. And that's when your brain betrays you. The hungrier you get, the stronger the urge to eat anything. That's when survival became discipline. To resist the poison berry, even when your stomach feels like it's eating itself. That was strength. Today, most of us can't even bring ourselves to cook after work. We rely on labels, supermarkets, or let's be honest, takeaway. Out here, one wrong bite, and you're done. Hour 6. You've kept your stomach safe. Well done. But you're not the only one who's hungry. And some creatures out here have a much bigger appetite than you do. Cave lions. Bigger than today's African lions. Dire wolves. Heavier, stronger. Hunting in packs. Cave bears, 3 meters tall when standing. To them, you're not a person. You're just a funny-looking protein bar. The challenge wasn't fighting. Alone, you wouldn't stand a chance. The challenge was reading the animal before it decided what to do with you. Flattened ears, a tail whipping. That meant aggression. Back away, or you're done. A limp in its walk? That meant weakness, an opportunity. Knowing what a predator liked to eat told you 2 things. What bait might lure it closer, and when to get the hell away. Our ancestors were masters of this silent conversation. They didn't just see animals, they read them, and they were patient. Sometimes survival meant staying still for hours, waiting, letting the predator make the first move or lose interest. Today, most of us grow up in cities and can't even read the behavior of a dog or a cat. We can't tell the difference between excitement and aggression. We read memes and internet slang like it's our mother tongue, but we've forgotten the language of animals. Hour 9. You've made it past hunger, past predators. At least, you think you have. But survival wasn't just about muscles or tools, it was about your mind. Fear itself was a predator. Every sound in the dark could mean death. A twig snapping, a shadow shifting, the sudden silence of birds. Your heart races. Your body screams. Run. But run where? And from what? Panic could save you in the short term. But in the Stone Age, panic could also kill you. A hunter who froze starved. A parent who panicked could expose the whole group. So our ancestors learned to master fear, or be mastered by it. They built rituals to calm the body. Songs, chants, dances around the fire. Storytelling that turned fear into lessons. Even laughter, mocking danger, was a survival tool. Primitive psychology, long before Freud. Today, our predators are different. We feel stress when the Wi-Fi drops. We feel rejection when a message goes unanswered. Their daily stress came from danger in the dark. Ours comes from silence on a screen. Resilience wasn't about never feeling fear. It was about acting in spite of it. Stay calm, stay sharp, stay alive. Night 1. The sun sets. The real test begins. Without fire, you're cold, exposed, and easy prey. Temperatures could plunge below freezing, even colder during the Ice Age. Without fire or hides, hypothermia struck in hours. Your modern body, soft, unacclimated, wouldn't last till morning. But fire was more than warmth. It gave light in the darkness. It kept predators back. It made water safe to drink and food easier to digest. Here's the problem. You couldn't wait until dark to figure it out. You needed dry wood, tinder, and the right stones before the sun went down. Try searching for kindling in a pitch-black forest, a mission doomed from the start. And forget the cartoon idea of rubbing sticks and, poof, sparks. You needed the right wood, bone-dry tinder, practiced hands, and patience. Stone Age people weren't just good at making fire. They mastered keeping it alive. They guarded flames like treasure. They carried smoldering material wrapped in bark, portable power banks of their age. That way they didn't gamble on starting from scratch each night. You You'd be trembling in the dark, hoping your phone's flashlight has enough battery to last the night. When it dies, so does your sense of safety. Meanwhile, your ancestors were the first creatures in history to create fire, a skill that rewrote the relationship between humans and nature. It was the first defiance against the dark, the first step in taking control of the world. You made it through the first night, congratulations. But here's the truth. Surviving one day in the Stone Age doesn't mean much. You can't just repeat the same trick and expect to grow old out here. If you wanted to last longer, you needed more than luck. You needed 3 important survival skills our ancestors mastered and that most of us have completely lost. Ability 1. Beating the elements. Predators were deadly. Hunger was brutal. But the enemy that killed more humans than anything else? The elements. Cold, wind, rain, snow. Exposure alone could wipe you out faster than any lion. During Ice Age nights, temperatures could plunge to -20 degrees Celsius. Without fire, hides, or shelter, hypothermia struck in hours. So our ancestors engineered survival out of what they had. They scraped hides, softened them, stitched them with bone needles, and layered them into coats that fought off brutal winds. Archaeologists even found homes built from mammoth bones, arches of tusks, hides stretched across, entire houses made from what they hunted. And nothing went to waste. The meat filled stomachs, the fat burned as fuel, the bones became tools, the hides became tents, blankets, and clothing. Today, we struggle to pitch a tent at a music festival. They built weatherproof homes out of carcasses. We buy winter jackets rated for Arctic weather and still complain at the bus stop. They kept whole groups alive through nights that could kill in hours. Fire gave light, warmth, and protection. Clothing and shelter gave endurance. Together, they turned survival from a gamble into a strategy. Beating the elements wasn't just about comfort. It was the line between life and death. Ability 2. Built to hunt. Our ancestors were built different, literally. Their bones were denser, their joints tougher, their muscle tissue stronger and leaner from constant use. Every day was training, walking, climbing, carrying, hunting. Fragile bodies didn't make it past childhood. Weak hunters didn't return from the hunt. But even with that natural strength, they still looked outmatched. Predators were faster, stronger, armed with claws and fangs. Humans had none of that. What we did have was endurance. Where lions sprinted, humans jogged. For hours, for days, hunters could chase an antelope in the blazing sun until it collapsed from exhaustion. The animal was faster, but humans were relentless. Step after step, breath after breath, until the prey had nothing left. Try doing that with your office physique. You'd be out of breath before you left your cubicle. But endurance alone wasn't enough. Our bodies didn't come with built-in weapons. No claws, no fangs, no armor. Against a cave bear, stamina alone was suicide. So humans built weapons. Sharp hand axes that could slice through a carcass. Spear throwers, atlatls that hurled darts farther and harder than any human arm. Eventually, bows and arrows that tipped the balance between man and beast. And it wasn't just weapons. Rope, twisted sinew, or plant fibers was the silent hero. With cordage, you could set traps, tie bundles, string bows, build shelters. Without rope, most of the Stone Age toolkit simply didn't work. Nowadays, we use technology far more advanced than any hunter in history. But do we know how to use it when we're faced with a real threat? Try killing a wild boar with your iPhone. Tools mattered, but strategy was the force that reshaped the hunt. Hunters drove herds of bison or mammoths into bogs, narrow valleys, even off cliffs. Panic did the killing. Then the tribe moved in to harvest everything: meat, hides, bone. One successful drive could feed dozens for months. Hunting was never about brute force. It was about endurance, intelligence, and craftsmanship. The combination that turned fragile-looking humans into apex predators. Ability 3. Social survival. Survival in the Stone Age was less about individual strength or tools, and more about social dynamics. To be alone was to be vulnerable. Sleep meant defenselessness against predators, raiders, and the cold. However, a group offered protection. While one person slept, another stayed awake, tending the fire or noticing a twig snap, ensuring everyone's safety. Sharing was not just an act of kindness, but a form of insurance. If one hunter failed, the catch of another sustained the group. Refusing to share often led to exile, a certain death sentence in the Stone Age. Today we find it impressive if you've got 15,000 followers on Instagram, but how many of them will protect you while you sleep? And protection went beyond keeping watch while you slept. It extended to raising children communally. Birth itself was one of the greatest risks any group faced. Without help, many mothers and babies didn't survive. But with more people helping out, feeding, carrying, keeping warm, the chances got better. The tribe was like a safety net. Survival went past mere existence. Non-verbal communication, encompassing gestures, posture, and even how a spear was held or a palm opened, formed the earliest language. Laughter by the fire conveyed trust, while a misplaced action signaled danger. Long before the advent of grammar, humanity communicated through their bodies. Within a tribe, individual strengths flourished. One person might excel at preparing hides, another at tracking, and yet another at crafting tools. Alone, survival demanded a broad but average skill set. Together, however, individuals could specialize, trade their unique talents, and collectively thrive. Some believe that community itself was the original religion, rather than deities. This perspective suggests that the invisible, powerful force of group belief, something larger than oneself, was powerful enough to shape your behavior. You stayed loyal, and you contributed because the tribe was survival. Human survival has always depended on collective effort. Alone, you die. Together, you survive. Conclusion: the average modern adult dropped into the Stone Age, with no tools, no training, and no tribe, would probably last no longer than 2 days, maybe a little longer if luck or instinct were on your side. So how long would you truly last? If you're soft, untrained, and dependent on comfort, the end would come within 24 hours. Cold, fear, and confusion would finish you long before hunger did. If you're fit and disciplined, you might survive the first few days. But bad water, exhaustion, and isolation would soon break you down. A few with real outdoor skills might last longer than a week, avoiding mistakes through experience and insight. Yet even the strongest and smartest modern human would fail alone. Eventually. While we may seem softer than our ancestors, we possess something they did not: language, imagination, and the ability to plan, to see patterns, to dream of futures. If you somehow gained the trust of a tribe, not as the strongest hunter, but as the one who remembers, organizes, and encourages, you could survive, maybe even thrive. That, too, is survival. Today we lose sleep over screens, panic when comfort slips away, and measure our worth through strangers online. Meanwhile, our ancestors faced hunger, cold, and fear together. They carried maps in their minds. They built homes from bone. They guarded the flame that kept their people alive. They survived with almost nothing because they had no other choice. We have almost everything, and that might be our greatest test. So the real question isn't how long you'd last back then. It's what you'll do with the luxury you have now. Your ancestors already proved that we can reinvent ourselves. They lit the darkness and carried the fire forward. The torch has been passed down to you. Now, it's your turn. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And tell us, what's the next question you want to ask the ancients?